Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 5, Seeking Immortality in the Eastern Sea. Volume 5 Pinyin Donghai Xuan Xian. Chapter 19 456 Giant Sea Beast. 19th of Volume 5. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. The White Jade Giant ship was a monolithic structure, 30 zhong long, unearthed by Anshanjing from a secret realm. Its value rivaled that of a myriad inscriptions artifact, making it a priceless spiritual artifact. Ku Di appeared to be 17 or 18 years old, with average height and features. She lacked the striking beauty of Zhongning and Zhuoqiu Hongting, yet her appearance felt more authentic, as if she represented the common masses. The Amitabha Sutra was inscribed across her white Buddhist robes, fluttering in the sea breeze. Li Wei grasped Yuer's wrist, channeling his spiritual qi to ride the wind across the waves. They landed gracefully on the ship's deck. His earlier anxiety had subsided. It wasn't fear of Anshanjing's actions, but concern that Yuer's true identity might be exposed. Hiding Yuer now would only draw more attention. Master Ku Di, long time no see. You haven't changed a bit. Li Wei, still dusty from his journey across the white desert, greeted her with a warm smile, feigning casual ease as he pressed his palms together in a respectful bow. Yuer mimicked his gesture, also bowing with her hands clasped. Ku Di was taken aback by the politeness of the Zhu Divine Hidden One, whose name now resonated throughout the world. For a moment, she felt flustered, as if her own composure as a Buddhist nun was lacking in serenity and peace. Come in, and Anshanjing's cold, ethereal voice echoed from within the cabin. The vast white jade giant ship seemed to hold only Anshanjing and Ku Di, with no other figures in sight. Please watch over my disciple. She's still young. Direct all your grievances toward me alone, Li Wei said, smoothly handing Yuer to Ku Di to prevent her from coming into close contact with Anshanjing. Ku Di couldn't fathom how her master would deal with this traitor. But even she wouldn't stoop to taking issue with a little girl, let alone her master. Li Wei's smile faded as he pushed open the door and strode into the spacious cabin hall. He passed through a screen and saw Anshanjing standing by the window. The ship's window was a horizontal pane 3 meters wide, offering a panoramic view of the sea and the salty breeze. 10 steps away, the cabin door automatically closed. You show neither reverence nor fear. Who authorized you to step behind the screen? Anshanjing glanced sideways at Li Wei, her tone icy. Li Wei stood beside the screen, studying Anshanjing's face, his posture straight. Hall master and treats Wei Yi like a son or nephew. Why should I fear you? I hold only respect for you, not fear. Anshanjing's appearance changed daily, her features reflecting her inner state. When she was in good spirits, her face radiated beauty and serenity. When she was troubled, her complexion betrayed her mood. Today, Anshanjing looked about the same age as Ku Di, her skin as flawless as a pure immortal physique, her features delicate and radiant. Her hair shimmered with a lustrous sheen, and her crimson lips appeared particularly vivid, suggesting her mood wasn't entirely dark. Yet behind those eyes that had witnessed the world's vicissitudes lay a deep-seated sorrow. Do you think your words will spare you today? Anshanjing's lips curved into a cold smile, her eyes flashing with icy frost. Li Wei remained unfazed, his aura of authority even stronger than Anshanjing's, despite her being half a head shorter. If Hall Master intended to kill me, she wouldn't have allowed me to board this ship. Are the 4 children safe? Are you reminding me that you helped me cultivate golden rice? I've already repaid that debt. Anshanjing glanced out the window. The white jade giant ship had set sail, gliding toward the deep sea. Li Wei asked, has Hall Master achieved a breakthrough to Transcendence Realm? I've already repaid that debt too. Anshanjing replied. Hall Master misunderstands. But no matter. After careful consideration, Li Wei said, Wei Yi is well aware that his actions in Lingxiao City must have brought punishment upon Hall Master and from the divine sect. Wei Yi believes he acted with a clear conscience and would do the same again 1,000 times over. The only person Wei Yi owes an apology to is Hall Master N for betraying her trust and kindness. Anshanjing fell into a long silence, her thoughts unreadable. The white jade giant ship sailed at tremendous speed, the coastline already out of sight. After a long pause, Anshanjing emerged from her inner world, shot Li Wei a cold glance, and settled into a chair beside the screen. She picked up the Buddhist beads from the table and began twirling them. At least you have some conscience left, knowing you've caused me so much trouble. Her tone lacked any trace of condescension, sounding nothing like the voice of a great immortal realm expert. Li Wei sensed that her anger had largely dissipated. He knew Anshanjing didn't truly hate him or Yao Qingshan, she simply harbored the resentment any woman would feel after being betrayed, a resentment she couldn't resolve. Li Wei genuinely felt remorse. Regardless of the twin rice sect's flaws, Anshanjing had shown him and Yao Qingshan genuine affection. She had treated him even better than her own disciple, Changji Daozi. Li Weiyi's arrogance vanished as he hurried forward, eagerly massaging her shoulders and back. The rice people have their choices, and as a human, I must make my own. Neither my master nor I can accept the collapse of Lingxiao City or the corpse sowing rice sweeping across the land. But our friendship with Hall Master N is another matter entirely. And Shencang frowned slightly at the young man's touch, but her initial aversion gradually gave way to a strange, novel sensation. Had anyone else been so glib and ingratiating, she would have struck them dead with a single palm strike. Yet Li Weiyi possessed an undeniable sincerity. She believed that even if he achieved great cultivation in the future, he would remember their current bond rather than betray her trust. To step forward in such a precarious situation, unafraid of death or the collapse of the heavens, such a man of unwavering resolve could not possibly be flattering and serving her out of fear of being killed. She was convinced that Li Weiyi truly held only respect for her, not fear. Don't let this war between the human race and the rice people fool you, and Shencang said meaningfully, though countless lives have been lost on both sides, the situation has changed. We may even need to cooperate in the future. Li Weiyi asked, because the Book of Radiant Stars can dispel the darkness of the Nether Realm of the Dead. And Shencang nodded slightly. When the Lingxiao realm consisted of only 28 prefectures, everyone fought tooth and nail for limited resources. But if it expands to 37, 59, or even restores its former 300 prefectures, we can finally set aside our hatred and conflicts and forge peace. Li Weiyi pressed, why didn't the Twin Rice sect pursue this earlier? Because Lord Lan fell. Because the Mist Celestial returned. Because the Rice Palace now shares in these benefits. Everything has changed. And Shencang declared. Li Weiyi persisted, is the Mist Celestial still alive? And Shencang shook her head slightly, I don't know. She fled west, vanishing into the far western ashlands. But I suspect she's still alive. Otherwise, the western monster race would have already marched east and crushed the Lingxiao realm. You must understand that after Lord Lan, the western monster race suffered the greatest losses in the Battle of Lingxiao City. They will not let this go. Li Weiyi nodded inwardly, his initial worry easing slightly. On my journey from Yu Prefecture, I saw Twin Rice sect members cultivating rice paddies on the decaying land, working tirelessly. Isn't this rushing things a bit? The concern in Shencang's eyes deepened. Given your current cultivation level, investigating this matter would be pointless. I summoned you here for something far more critical. What is the true nature of your relationship with that Zhang clan woman? Li Weiyi's hands froze. Why are you bringing this up, Hall Master N? Didn't Yang Qingxi tell you? And Shencang asked. Li Weiyi desperately wanted to be honest, but he ultimately replied, no. If she hadn't told you, your reaction wouldn't be so calm, and Shencang continued, everyone has their own way of surviving. Yang Qingxi's lies in knowing who to deceive and who to trust. Is she doing well? Li Weiyi asked. Which one are you referring to? And Shencang replied. Since Hall Master N praised Yang Qingxi for having her own way of surviving, it's clear she's returned to the divine sect and is thriving. I'm asking about Zhang Ning. Not very well, and Shencang said. What do you mean, not very well? Li Weiyi pressed. She, the Rice Palace, and the Zhang clan are involved in activities that deeply concern me. If the affection you and she deliberately displayed in Lingxiao City were genuine, it might prove useful in the future. But for now, your cultivation and strength are far from sufficient. Weiyi, your talent is extraordinary, unlike anything I've ever seen in another young person. You must grow stronger, attain Transcendence Realm, and even become the martial mystic Dao Heavenly Emperor. Li Weiyi couldn't understand what Shencang was saying, but he knew she wouldn't reveal the truth. I want to see her. You will see her, and Shencang said, but even if you do, it won't make any difference. The third day. The white jade giant ship sailed through the deep sea. The seawater was pitch black, with waves surging several meters high, evoking a sense of overwhelming dread. Even Dao Seed Realm martial mystic cultivators felt insignificant and vulnerable in such waters. The sheer power of nature pressed down, making it difficult to breathe. Li Weiyi stood on the deck, practicing the 12 dispersed hands of the Chan sect. The formation light veil protecting the ship blocked the raging hurricane outside. Since learning about Zhang Ning's situation from Shencang 3 days ago, his mood had been heavy with gloom. Yuer had interacted with Shencang, but the latter hadn't noticed anything amiss, nor had she deliberately probed Yuer's innate talents. Shencang was too consumed by her own inner turmoil. Ahu! Terrifying roars echoed from the depths of the sea, one after another. The entire ocean trembled. Li Weiyi stopped practicing, his expression tense, and gathered with Yuer and Ku Di. Even the sound alone made it clear they were facing no ordinary demon beast. The dangers of the East Sea were no mere legend. Beneath the waves, a colossal black shadow, many times larger than the white jade giant ship, surged past at incredible speed. Splash! Several miles away, a corner of a massive, mountain-like body emerged, covered in black scales. The water it churned rose like a torrential downpour, drenching the ship. And Shencang swiftly moved to the ship's deck, her body radiating concentric circles of Buddhist light. Dense scriptures erupted from her, enveloping the churning sea below. Begone. She hurled her prayer beads, striking a vast stretch of the ocean and creating a bowl-shaped depression that turned the pitch-black water golden. A blood-curdling roar echoed from the depths. The colossal, unknown demon beast fled at breakneck speed. Half a day later, they had distanced themselves from the bottomless ancient sea. The sky cleared, and the sea lay as smooth as a blue mirror, reflecting flocks of seabirds. And Shencang approached the ship's railing, standing beside Li Wei. 300 li west of here lies Moondragon Island. I'll take you this far. On the day Li Wei boarded the ship, and Shencang had asked him about his destination. Li Wei, surprised, had replied, Hall Master N, you couldn't possibly be going out of your way to escort me, could you? What are you dreaming about? It just happens to be along my route. This grand excavation of the ancient immortal dragon remains has its own gathering places for young people like you. Those of us at a higher cultivation level have our own circles for discussion and meetings. Different realms of cultivation lead to different worlds, and our interests diverge completely. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 5. Seeking Immortality in the Eastern Sea. Volume 5 Pinyin Donghai Xuan Xian. Chapter 20 457 Yao Yin returns. 20th of Volume 5. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. And Shencang informed Li Wei that a gathering of high realm cultivators would soon take place, where a transcendent realm's other shore heavenly pill, which had fallen into the Lingxiao realm, would be revealed, along with other transcendent secret treasures. They would discuss the division of profits from the excavation of the ancient immortal dragon remains and other major events surrounding the Lingxiao realm. All great immortal realm cultivators who had transcended the lifespan of ordinary humans would be attending. The younger generation, meanwhile, would converge on Moondragon Island. And Shencang said, your strength is formidable, few among the younger generation can match you. During this competition for opportunities, would you help me look after Ku Di? Ku Di retorted, Master, I don't need anyone to protect me. I've already cultivated the Tao Lotus and can defend myself. Li Wei forced a wry smile. Palace Master N, it's not that I'm unwilling, but the Twin Rice Sect and Rice Palace currently wield immense power, with experts as numerous as clouds. Master Ku Di would be far safer with them than with me. Her second senior brother alone, Chongji Daozi, is considered the strongest cultivator below the immortal realm. Of course, if Master Ku Di truly faces danger and I am able to help, I will certainly intervene. Li Wei, Ku Di, Yuer, and Shencang bid farewell and boarded a wooden boat, 7 or 8 meters long, setting course for Moondragon Island, 300 li away. And Shencang stood alone at the ship's rail, watching them depart, a palpable sense of loneliness clinging to her. Li Wei turned to Ku Di, who was sitting cross-legged at the stern, and asked, Master Ku, Palace Master and said Moondragon Island is bustling with activity. What's going on? Ku Di closed her eyes. First, stop calling me, Master Ku. Second, why are you asking me about the mess you created? Li Wei looked bewildered. How did this become my fault? Ku Di replied, didn't you send word back to the Lingxiao realm about the 6-clawed immortal dragon's chi appearing in the East Sea? What about those alarmist claims you spread? Seize the 6-clawed immortal dragon's chi, and the living realm will prosper. Lose it, and powerful enemies will arise, bringing future calamity. Weren't those your words? For the past 3 months, the 28 prefectures of the Lingxiao realm have been in an uproar because of this. Countless experts have been rushing to the East Sea, wave after wave. Every faction wants to seize this opportunity for prosperity. Having just weathered a great calamity, the human clan is in a state of heightened vigilance, and your words have only intensified their fears. Who wouldn't dread future consequences? Li Wei's face lit up with relief upon learning the letters hadn't been lost. Noticing the unusual tone in Ku Di's voice, he asked, Miss Ku, are you human? Whether I'm human or ricefolk is irrelevant, Ku Di replied. Li Wei understood. Ku Di was human. This explained why Shencang had asked him to look after her. After all, the Twin Rice sect harbor deep-seated prejudices against humans. Having grown up in Guanshan, far from the Twin Rice sect's core, Ku Di likely had no connection whatsoever with Shencang's 2 disciples at the headquarters. Ku Di opened her eyes and added, you should be cautious on Moondragon Island. After discovering your secret, the Rice Palace has become intensely interested in the 7-clawed heavenly dragon Tao heart manifestation you've cultivated. Some even claim they intend to seize your dragon seed Tao Lotus for research and enlightenment. Thank you for the warning, Li Wei said. He activated the disguise technique, his features beginning to transform. His primary purpose in visiting Moondragon Island's sea market was to fulfill his agreement with the young Lucerne merchant. He also planned to purchase 4,000-year-old millennial essence herbs and golden essence bone marrow. There was no need to reveal his true identity, invite trouble, or attract unnecessary danger. The Little Seven's cultivation realm had stalled at the peak of the sixth heaven in the Dao Seed realm, making it difficult to break through. They needed high-grade essence herbs to advance. Once they all reached the seventh heaven, Li Wei would truly be able to move freely below the immortal realm. Ku Di and Yuer stared in astonishment at Li Wei, who stood at the bow of the ship. He had changed into a magnificent blue robe, adorned with a white jade hair crown, and now held a folding fan. His demeanor was elegant and his features incomparably handsome. Often, the more one tries to conceal their abilities, the more suspicion they arouse. Since this gathering was for the top young experts, it was better to present himself with a striking appearance, achieving the effect of standing out like a crane among chickens while still remaining hidden. Miss Ku, Li Wei said kindly, would you like to wear a mask and change your clothes? As Palace Master An's disciple and someone from Guanshan, you'd be in great danger if recognized by experts from the Lingxiao human clan. Ku Di shifted her gaze from his face. I'm not weak. I can protect myself. Li Wei said nothing more. Propelled by his psychic power, the wooden boat sped forward, chasing the setting sun. As the sea and sky were dyed crimson by the sunset's glow, Moondragon Island finally came into view. Moondragon Island was a vast crescent-shaped island in the sea, stretching 500 li from north to south and 100 li at its widest point east to west. The harbor lay on the inner curve of the crescent, near the eastern territory of the Lingxiao realm. The sea market clustered around the harbor, its masts rising like a dense forest, filled with massive warships, many of them spiritual artifact warships. Martial mystic cultivators from across the Lingxiao realm mostly resided on these ships. Before Li Wei's wooden boat even entered the harbor, Ku Di, who was aboard, had already been recognized by a human martial mystic cultivator on one of the giant warships. Guanshan martial mystic cultivators dare to come to Moondragon Island. A thunderous voice boomed. Kang Li leapt from the warship's deck like a beam of light, crashing heavily onto the wooden boat's bow. Standing on the sea surface, he summoned a 2-meter-high wave that surged forward, forcing the wooden boat to retreat from the harbor. The Zhu tribe had endured a century of Guanshan's humiliation, a private grudge. But the slaughter caused by corpse cultivation rice had ignited boundless hatred in all human martial mystic cultivators, an experience they could never forget. This was now a racial vendetta. Ku Di, an inheritor-level expert, rose abruptly, undaunted by Kang Li's imposing aura. This is Moondragon Island's sea market, she declared. Has the young clan leader consulted the island lord before attempting to kill me? You haven't even set foot on the island yet, Kang Li said. Li Wei, having promised and Xuanhuan his aid, couldn't stand idly by. He sat at the ship's bow, his back to Kang Li, fanning himself with a folding fan. Let me speak a word of fairness. Young clan leader, even if you kill her, your status and cultivation won't restore the Zhu tribe's honor. I've learned that Miss Ku Di still adheres to certain principles and doesn't deserve death. Kang Li's gaze fell on the figure at the ship's bow. Seeing the man's composure, he knew his origins must be extraordinary. Is this about honor? This is about the hatred between our races. I'll do it. She's at the same cultivation realm as me. Killing her will restore the Zhu tribe's lost honor. In the distance, on the Zhu tribe's warship where their martial mystic cultivators had gathered, Yanxi leapt overboard. His dragon tail swished as he held a long halberd, his aura radiating murderous intent. This is all your fault, Li Wei transmitted telepathically to Ku Di. If you'd just changed clothes and worn a mask earlier, none of this would have happened. Where are the twin rice sect's experts? I don't need anyone's help. Ku Di's heart burned with resentment. From her ancestral field, she summoned her spiritual artifact, the tin staff, twirling it in her hand with a ringing ding-ding sound. Li Wei was astonished that no twin rice sect expert had appeared to intervene in such a crisis. He had no desire for Ku Di and Yanxi to engage in a life-or-death battle at sea. Whether one died or was severely injured, it would be a major headache. With feigned nonchalance, Li Wei remarked, a man fighting a woman. Even if you win, it won't look good. This won't do, that won't do. What's with all these rules in a decisive battle? I'm a man, and she's Guanshan's top genius. Where's the fairness in that? Yanxi glared at the young man on the ship, finding his air of profound mystery utterly pretentious. I'll handle this. A melodious, sweet voice drifted across the sea. Li Wei straightened instantly, snapping his folding fan shut. He turned to watch the graceful figure walking step by step across the water's surface, his heart pounding with surprise. He knew Yaoyan and Shishi's cultivation levels were too low, they were still undergoing cultivation at the Calamity Crossing Temple and hadn't returned. Why is she back so suddenly? Yaoyan walked on wisps of ethereal mist, her face veiled. Her dark hair flowed like strokes of a master calligrapher's brush, and her skin glowed with the translucent radiance of immortal jade. Her waist curved with exquisite grace, her neck was slender and elegant, and her aura was both ethereal and vibrant. She was no longer the young girl they remembered. Now, she resembled the Lingbo fairy, a vision of transcendent beauty, embodying the essence of heaven and earth, captivating all who gazed upon her. Though her true face remained hidden, the martial mystic cultivators on the ships needed only glimpse her silhouette to imagine the peerless celestial beauty beneath the veil. Following closely behind her was Qi Jianru, a giant of the immortal realm from the Calamity Crossing Temple. Once the most promising heavenly pride among the true inheritance disciples, he had now been eclipsed by her brilliance, reduced to a mere supporting role. She's the abbot's newly accepted disciple, one cultivator whispered. They say her innate talent surpasses even that of the young heavenly emperor. The abbot's disciple. Does that mean she's the true inheritance disciple of this generation for the Calamity Crossing Temple? Currently, she's a registered disciple. But once she reaches the immortal realm, she'll immediately become a true inheritance disciple. Everyone in the temple knows the competition for the true inheritance has already been decided. Dozens of Calamity Crossing Temple disciples, clad in Taoist robes, gathered on the stone cliffs overlooking the sea market, gazing out at the sea. Among them were the 12 immortal patrol envoys from the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival, as well as Fu Wenyan and other exceptionally talented heavenly prides, all drawn here by the extraordinary opportunity to excavate the ancient immortal dragon remains. Fu Wenyan remarked, Junior Sister Yao's cultivation speed is remarkable, she's already at the third heaven of the Dao Seed realm. But her opponent is an inheritor who has condensed a Dao Lotus. Victory won't come easily. On a warship south of the harbor, where Twin Rice sect martial mystic cultivators had gathered, Huang Shu chuckled, Senior brother Changji, she's your junior sister. Why are you watching so coldly? Changji Daozi's gaze remained calm and indifferent, offering no response. Sikong Yanlin sneered, a mere human, who knows what she really is. She might just be the next Yao Qingshan or Li Wei. All humans associated with Palace Master and should be exterminated. Changji Daozi fixed Sikong Yanlin with a cold, piercing gaze. Sikong Yanlin immediately lowered his head and murmured, Palace Master and is undoubtedly beyond suspicion. After all, a high-ranking figure from the Rice Palace personally searched her soul, effectively severing her path to transcendence. Sikong Yanlin had witnessed Palace Master and being forced to kneel before the Rice Palace dignitary, her soul searched in a humiliating and wretched display. This experience shattered his former awe of her, stripping away the mystique that had once surrounded her. The soul-searching process inflicts irreversible damage upon the soul spirit, effectively severing a portion of one's innate talent and foundational strength. This injury becomes glaringly apparent during breakthroughs to higher cultivation realms. Of course, the greatest trauma of soul-searching lies in the humiliation of having all one's secrets exposed. The higher a martial mystic cultivator's cultivation, the more unbearable such shame becomes. This humiliation is 1,000 times more degrading than being stripped naked. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 5, Seeking Immortality in the Eastern Sea. Volume 5 Pinyin Donghai Xuan Xian. Chapter 21 458 The Power of the Earth Sword Talisman. 21st of Volume 5. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Ku Di, the leader of the Coffin Mountain Four Truths, had ranked among the top 10 in the Southern Territories first class during the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival. In just over 2 years since cultivating the Dragon Seed Dao, her cultivation had reached the fourth heaven of the Dao Seed realm. Among the inheritors of major powers, this was considered a normal pace, neither outstanding nor lagging behind. However, her opponent, Yaoyan, was far from normal, having already reached the third heaven of the Dao Seed realm. She stood like a jade lotus rising from the sea, her dark hair swaying gently in the sea breeze. Her entire being radiated an aura of serene transcendence, an odd stillness like a bowl of perfectly still water. Whoosh! A 5-foot-long sword materialized in her hand. Her slender fingers, like jade scallions, gripped the blade of white jade ice crystal, its edge radiating a bone-chilling cold. Li Wei immediately noticed something peculiar. The sword had emerged from the Laogong point in her right palm, clearly no ordinary weapon. Most martial mystic cultivators cultivated innate worlds within their bodies, typically the ancestral field, wind mansion, and 5 seas. Psychic masters also cultivated the spirit realm between their eyebrows. The Laogong points in the palms were 2 of the 9 springs. Cultivating an innate world within the Laogong point of the right hand was equivalent to gaining an additional Qi. Whoosh! Yaoyan, clad in a cyan Taoist robe with a jade belt cinching her slender waist and wide sleeves billowing, swung her sword. Her sleeves and the sword radiance shimmered like azure clouds scattering moonlight. A condensed white sword Qi, resembling a radiant moon reflected on the sea's surface, surged toward Ku Di. Undaunted, Ku Di leapt from the wooden boat. She struck the water with her staff, conjuring a golden bell-shaped barrier around herself to block the incoming sword Qi. Clang. The bell's resonant chime reverberated across the harbor. Ku Di retreated across the water, leaving a long, rippling trail in her wake, narrowly avoiding a collision with the wooden boat. Miss Ku, can you really handle this? If not, let's stop fighting. I'll take you to the island, Li Wei called out, stunned by Yaoyan's sword strike. Even the young celestial emperors, despite their status, would find it no easy feat to challenge a fourth heaven martial mystic cultivator while at the third heaven. Moreover, Ku Di was an inheritor. Li Wei recalled that Yaoyan had opened 107 meridian veins in the Spring Surge realm, matching Zhenhai Guanwu's record. Furthermore, she had ventured to the Calamity Crossing Temple while still in the Spring Surge realm. This superior foundation granted her greater plasticity than other martial mystic cultivators, making her current strength understandable. The girl before him was no longer the skinny 15-year-old he remembered from 3 years ago. She seemed like an immortal about to ascend from the sea, her every movement radiating a captivating beauty. Didn't you see? I was letting her attack just now. I was only defending, Ku Di replied to Li Wei, finally abandoning her initial underestimation. Though Yaoyan hadn't yet manifested a Dao Lotus, the power of her earlier sword strike had been formidable, her combat prowess nearly matching Ku Di's own. On the sea, the two women clashed again. Yaoyan's sword technique, originating from the Calamity Crossing Temple, was fluid and agile, rooted in the Taoist sect's sword canon. Ku Di wielded her tin staff with crushing force, a style steeped in the Buddhist sect's traditions. 30 meters away, Kang Li stood on a cloud of spiritual qi, his gaze fixed on the battlefield, ready to intervene at any moment. Yaoyan's comprehension is truly terrifying. Her mental state has already reached the level of pure true self. What does that mean? Yin Shi asked. Kang Li explained, though the Calamity Crossing Temple accepts all disciples regardless of background, over half of its 9 lakes and 36 courtyards focus primarily on Taoist cultivation, which demands an exceptionally refined mental state. Cultivating one's mental state enhances comprehension, allowing one to grasp scriptures and Tao techniques far more quickly than others. The deeper one's mental state, the more powerful their Tao techniques become. Among all cultivators below the immortal realm in the Calamity Crossing Temple, including all outer sect elders at the 9th heaven of the Tao Seed realm, fewer than 5 have attained the pure true self state. If Yaoyan becomes a true disciple of the Calamity Crossing Temple, her status will be unparalleled. Even the clan chiefs of the major tribes would have to bow before her, let alone you, young clan leader. Who knows who will rule the hidden sect in the future? Ha ha ha. Yin Shi's face was flushed with envy, eagerly anticipating Li Wei's jaw-dropping reaction. Kang Li felt no jealousy, only joy for Yaoyan. He chuckled, with the Calamity Crossing Temple's true disciple backing her, the Zhuli clan's status in the Lingxiao realm will increase significantly. Even beyond our borders, others will treat us with newfound respect. This is a boon for the entire clan. The entire Zhuli clan now stands behind her, ready to support her ascent to that position. When one attains enlightenment, even their chickens and dogs ascend to heaven. Seeing Yaoyan gradually gain the upper hand, Kang Li turned his gaze to Li Wei. You don't seem like an ordinary person. Why would you associate with the evil nun of Coffin Mountain? How could someone remain so calm and composed in the face of such a formidable formation be considered ordinary? Kang Li secretly pondered whether this opponent was a young prodigy from the Rice Palace. There was no such figure among the younger generation in the Lingxiao realm. Li Wei observed the battlefield. Miss Ku isn't entirely to blame. She was born on Coffin Mountain, it's not her fault. After all, everyone serves their master. Or all members of the Zhuli clan saints. Yin Shi raised his halberd, spiritual qi surging around it, enough talk. Hearing him call her, Miss Ku, so intimately, he must be entangled with that thieving nun. Let me test his mettle. Yuer poked her head out from the ship, why are you insulting her? Calling her both an evil nun, and a thieving nun. Has Sister Ku ever insulted you? Master, teach them a lesson. She had grown considerably and was now dressed in mismatched men's clothing, completely different from her former self, resembling a tomboy. Very well. A streak of spiritual light shot from Li Wei's sleeve, sweeping up Yin Shi and hurling him dozens of meters away. Yin Shi shrieked mid-air, cursing vilely before crashing into the sea with a splash. Hearing the curse, Li Wei used his spiritual light to telekinetically press Yin Shi deeper into the seabed. Having absorbed the radiant essence of the Book of Radiant Stars, Li Wei's golden crow flame spiritual light had undergone a transformation. It now shimmered with 3 colors, gold, crimson, and white, resembling a tricolored true flame, a mystical phenomenon that would prevent his identity from being exposed by the spiritual light's aura. Beneath the setting sun, the sea shimmered with golden ripples. Yaoyan unleashed her Tao heart manifestation, transforming the sea beneath her feet into a colossal vortex. The seawater glowed with a pearly white light, rising in shimmering particles that framed her in ethereal beauty. Above her, a vortex of black demonic chi materialized, crushing and absorbing Kudi's spiritual chi, tin staff, and Dao heart manifestation. At the heart of this demonic chi vortex lay a black hole-like singularity, devouring all power and engulfing the light and heat of heaven and earth. Li Wei recognized this as the evolved form of the Zhu God's battle technique intent Yaoyan had acquired, its power far surpassing imagination. Boom. Kudi's protective spiritual chi shattered with a single palm strike, sending her flying backward with a muffled groan. Yaoyan remembered the events of the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival with perfect clarity. The Coffin Mountain Four Truths had repeatedly ambushed the Divine Hidden One, each encounter fraught with mortal danger. This debt demanded repayment. Whoosh. A sword flashed through the air, pursuing Kudi relentlessly. A dense formation of ice soul sword chi materialized around her, her immortal eyes radiating pure, unwavering willpower. Stop. You've already won the fight. Why take her life? Do you think you can disregard sword gentleman Lu Fengshu? Li Wei, who had been seated on the ship, abruptly stood up. With a flick of his fingers, he conjured a beam of spiritual light that enveloped Kudi, rescuing her from Yaoyan's sword and pulling her back to the ship. Out in the world, one's identity is self-proclaimed. The name, Lu Fengshu, served as a reminder to the young Lu merchant. Li Wei has arrived. You're breaking the rules. Kang Li declared, eager to test the man before him. He raised his hand, fingers spread wide. Strands of spiritual chi coalesced into the shadow of an axe in his palm, slashing at the spirit light tether connecting Li Wei and Kudi. Li Wei glanced sideways, flicking open his folding fan. Swish. A golden talisman embedded in the fan shot forth. As it flew, the talisman's radiance intensified, transforming into a majestic 3-foot ancient sword. The scorching energy it released boiled the sea's surface. With a thunderous boom, the ancient sword pierced through the axe shadow. Kang Li was no ordinary cultivator. He stood at the forefront of all Dragon Seed Dao martial mystic cultivators, his cultivation having already reached the 6th heaven of the Dao Seed realm. The Earth Sword talisman curved sharply over the sea, emitting a piercing, wind-splitting shriek as it shot back like a golden meteor. Sensing the talisman's terrifying power, Kang Li's expression hardened. He immediately summoned the silver spear from his ancestral field. The spear erupted like a dragon, colliding violently with the incoming Earth Sword talisman. Boom. The Earth Sword talisman's power rivaled the full-force strike of a 7th heaven Dao Seed realm martial mystic cultivator. Moreover, the talismans crafted by Li Wei contained the special spiritual light energy of the spirit realm, making them even more formidable. At the moment of impact, dense beams of sword chi erupted outward, blasting Kang Li back several dozen feet. 7 or 8 gashes were torn through his robes by the sword chi. Li Wei stood calmly at the ship's bow, lightly waving his hand to retrieve the now dimmed Earth Sword talisman. He stored it within the spirit realm between his eyebrows to replenish its energy. With a flick of his sleeve, he guided the wooden ship ashore, carrying the injured Kudi. Impressive, Kang Li murmured, refraining from further action as he recognized the vast disparity in their strength. Who is this sword gentleman? Showing off like that? Someone call for reinforcements, we've lost too much face today. Yin Shi gritted his teeth, nearly cracking his molars. A thunderous voice boomed from the depths of the mainland. Li Prefecture's first commander, Sheng Biao, has come to witness your divine abilities. A burly man with a bare upper body, his pure immortal physique's fair skin refined to a bronze hue through a specialized body refinement technique, stood atop a serpent Kirin beast. He descended from midair onto the white stone pier, a 1,000 inscriptions artifact battle axe slung over his shoulder. The mount, as large as a house, had scales like black iron and exhaled gusts of wind. His surname, Shang, indicated his origin from the beastly tribe. The trio had just disembarked from their ship and stepped onto the pier extending into the sea. Li Wei, leading the way, glanced at Sheng Biao standing tall and silent on the serpent Kirin beast's back. With a graceful, fluid motion, he unfurled his folding fan. Swish. Swish. 7 Earth Sword talismans shot forth, each manifesting as a 7th heaven martial mystic cultivator launching a simultaneous attack. 7 7th heaven martial mystic cultivators, even if they lacked perfect coordination and feared injury or death, would each possess their own weaknesses. But Li Wei's 7 swords were controlled by his undivided focus, their timing, angles, and force perfectly synchronized. In that brief moment, their combined power far surpassed what 7 7th heaven martial mystic cultivators could achieve together. Though only 7 swords were launched, Sheng Biao saw a blinding storm of countless blades hurtling toward him with terrifying speed. Sheng Biao, having recently broken through to the 9th heaven thanks to his transcendent flesh and spiritual qi, immediately recognized the formidable nature of his opponent. He activated his Dao heart manifestation and triggered the protective spiritual artifact around his neck. Boom. After enduring only 3 breaths, he was sent flying by the 7 swords and crashed into the sea. Of the 7 Earth Sword talismans, 2 had dimmed, and 1 had shattered. Talismans, after all, were no match for martial mystic cultivators in terms of endurance and were quickly depleted. Li Wei retrieved the 2 dimmed Earth Sword talismans into his spirit realm to replenish their energy. He then maneuvered the remaining 4 swords to orbit around himself, Ku Di, and Yuer. Sensing something, he raised his gaze toward the exotic beast carriage waiting at the end of the pier. The Zhu Li clan had sent an even more formidable expert. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Melworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 5, Seeking Immortality in the Eastern Sea. Volume 5 Pinyin Donghai Xuan Xian. Chapter 22 459 3 Generations at the Same Table. 22nd of Volume 5. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Ku Di knew Li Wei was strong, but she was still astonished by how effortlessly he defeated the first commander of an entire province. With a smear of blood at the corner of her mouth, she stayed close to Li Wei, whispering telepathically, "It was my fault. I should have listened to your advice. But please, don't force your way through again. Don't antagonize the Zhu Li tribe for my sake. Do you think I want to do this? I promised Palace Master and I'd protect you. If we don't fight, you won't be able to move freely on this island. Xuanhuan and the Twin Rice sect have offended too many human martial mystic cultivators. Even if the Zhu Li tribe doesn't attack, other forces will. Your Twin Rice sect experts should be on the island, right? Why haven't they come to retrieve you yet? It's outrageous." Li Wei was puzzled. Given Palace Master An's transcendent cultivation and innate talent, her disciple, a genius inheritor, should hold a high position. After hearing his words, Ku Di's prejudice against Li Wei diminished significantly. She finally understood why her master, despite suffering a great humiliation at his hands, remained so tolerant of him, even forbidding her from mentioning the incident. At the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival, she and Li Wei had been bitter rivals. Yet now, Li Wei was standing in her shoes, considering her perspective. At the end of the pier stood an azurewood carriage. 3 exotic birds with iridescent plumage pulled the carriage, driven by a man in his 30s with thick, crimson eyebrows. Rings of dense spiritual qi emanated from the carriage, spreading 30 zhong outward to Li Wei's position. It felt like layers of gaseous walls pressing down on him. Within the spiritual qi waves surged an ocean of scriptures. The scriptures' power solidified the surrounding space. "I am Kai Yan Zhen, clan chief of the Kai Li tribe," an aged voice echoed from within the carriage. "You must be from beyond the Lingxiao realm. The Zhu Li tribe has held a century-long grudge against Xuanhuan. Young Master Lu, please honor your promise and allow our heaven's chosen daughter to settle this feud with Xuanhuan's foremost genius in a decisive battle to the death." Li Wei didn't stop. He shattered the layers of spiritual qi waves and the ocean of scriptures, step by step, closing in on the shore. "When did I ever make such a promise? I made no such promise. Furthermore, tribe leader Kai, you shouldn't so readily send your heaven's chosen daughter into a life or death battle. What if she perishes prematurely? Impudence." The red-browed man driving the carriage roared, convinced Li Wei was trying to intimidate them. Li Wei glanced back. Shang Biao had already returned to the pier and was approaching with Kang Li, Yin Shiyi, and Yaoyan, their steps measured and deliberate. Li Wei was well aware of the long-standing feud between the Zhu Li tribe and Xuanhuan. If not for his promise to Anshanjing, why would allies turn against each other? He declared with bold confidence, "Today, this young master will take Miss Ku Di to Moondragon Island, no matter what. I dare ask, how many more experts does the Zhu Li tribe have? Send them all at once." From within the carriage, the clan chief of the Kai Li tribe spoke, "If you can overcome my challenge and set foot on Moondragon Island, the Zhu Li tribe will abide by the island's rules and cease hostilities." "Excellent. Clan leader, prepare yourself. This junior will show no mercy." 10 more Earth Sword talismans shot forth from Li Wei's brow center spirit realm, merging with the 4 already circling him to form a river of swords. This torrent shattered Kai Yan Zhen's spiritual qi and scriptures like brittle reeds. Enveloping Ku Di and Yuer in spiritual light, Li Wei followed closely behind the 14 golden ancient swords. The distance continued to close. When they were only 7 zhong away from the carriage, a gust of wind lifted the curtain, revealing Kai Yan Zhen's ancient and weathered face. With a flick of his hand, he hurled a flame-encased, pagoda-shaped spiritual artifact toward the 14 swords. Boom! The air trembled. In an instant, the pagoda-shaped artifact transformed into a 36-story metallic tower, its copper surface gleaming as it towered over the shore like a mountain. From the tower's gate, 3,600 scriptures erupted, circling the structure before descending upon Li Wei and his companions. Slash! Li Wei's long hair billowed as his eyes blazed like torches. He pointed his sword finger skyward, manipulating the 14 earth sword talismans to form a sword formation. Within the formation, a golden sword shadow, 14 zhang tall, surged upward. At Li Weiyi's command, the colossal golden blade slashed horizontally, sending Kai Yan Zhen's third-grade 1000 inscriptions artifact, the flaming ancient pagoda, flying. In the next instant, before the countless onlookers could react, Li Weiyi and his companions had already leapt over the azurewood carriage, landing gracefully on the streets of Moondragon Island's sea market. Whoosh! Whoosh! The 14 earth sword talismans, now dimmed, surged back like a tide, all retracting into Li Weiyi's brow center spirit realm to be nourished. Li Weiyi, holding his folding fan, glanced back at the carriage and bowed deeply. Thank you, senior, for showing mercy. As the Kai Li tribe's foremost expert and clan chief, Kai Yan Zhen, though not a immortal realm giant, undoubtedly possessed numerous formidable trump cards and high-grade spiritual artifacts. Yet he had only used a single one. Among the Zhu Li tribe's 9 clan chiefs, 6 were immortal realm experts. As a whole, even excluding the hidden sect and the holy spiritual master of the Zhu Li Divine Hall, the Zhu Li tribe boasted around 10 immortal realm giants. The Kandli tribe, the most powerful among them, served as the Zhu Li tribe's main clan. In terms of overall strength and accumulated resources, the Zhu Li tribe far surpassed the Sui sect and even the transcendent families of the imperial court. Yet Yang Shenjing, a single expert from the Sui sect, had the entire Zhu Li tribe to its suffocated, leaving them gasping for breath with no one capable of matching him. When Yang Shenjing proposed the Battle of Mount Mengshan years ago, the Zhu Li tribe had been forced to accept, clashing under his rules and enduring humiliation while losing significant interests. Externally, there was Xu Fodu, internally, Yang Shenjing, and lurking in the shadows, Yuan Yan. The major powers and ancient sects poured endless resources into nurturing their inheritors and true inheritances, all for this very reason. Cultivating one warrior capable of defeating 10,000 is far more crucial than training 10,000 ordinary soldiers. Inside the carriage, Kai Yan Zhen chuckled bitterly. Whether I held back or not, I couldn't have stopped you. Having lived in Li Prefecture for so long, I'd become a frog in a well. Only upon arriving at Moondragon Island did I realize how dazzling the younger generation has become. Yin Shiyi was stunned. This sword wielder is so formidable that even the clan chief couldn't restrain him. You've been beyond our borders, what's his background? The southern Yingzhou living realm teems with countless environments, Yaoyan replied, it's only natural for such heavens chosen to emerge. Yaoyan and Kang Li both shook their heads slightly. Qi Zhanru, a immortal realm giant from Calamity Crossing Temple, remarked, his psychic power attribute is extraordinary, 1 in 10,000. He could be considered a legendary psychic master. Legendary. Does he even deserve that title? Yin Shiyi scoffed, believing only the divine hidden one worthy of such a claim. Over half of the senior figures from the Lingxiao realm's 28 prefectures, including the first commander and all Dao Seed realm cultivators from the 7th, 8th, and 9th heavens, had already converged on Moondragon Island. Inside an ancient coral fortress where the imperial court's martial mystic cultivators had gathered, Taishi Yu observed, it resembles the Earth Sword Talisman, but its power is far greater. With all 14 swords unleashed, few in the world could withstand them. What's even more terrifying is that he might possess more than 14 swords, Taishi Bai added, no wonder he's called the Sword Gentleman. Every figure from beyond our borders proves to be extraordinary. Do we have anyone in the Lingxiao realm below the immortal realm who can hold their own? This is going to be difficult, Taishi Yu murmured, shaking his head. Then, a thought struck him, would Changji Daozi count? Changji Daozi appeared 10 steps away in the center of the street, his elegant bearing and refined demeanor immediately drawing attention. He turned to Li Weiyi with a courteous smile, junior sister, who is this guest you haven't introduced to your senior brother? Ku Di's gaze remained indifferent, showing little warmth, sword gentleman, Lu Fengshu. During their master's humiliation, Changji Daozi had been present but chose to protect himself, offering only a perfunctory plea for mercy before retreating to the sidelines. How could she possibly feel any closeness toward him after that? Changji Daozi smiled and clasped his hands in a formal greeting to Li Weiyi, signaling his desire for friendship. Changji Daozi, first divine son of the Lingxiao twin rice sect. Brother Lu's swordsmanship is truly remarkable, and his three-colored psychic power is profoundly mysterious. Would you honor us by joining us on our ship for a discussion? Beside him, Sikong Yanlin chuckled and introduced himself, Sikong Yanlin, divine son of the Lingxiao twin rice sect. Greetings, young Master Lu. Wine and dishes have already been prepared on the ship. Li Weiyi waved dismissively, no need for a meal. I have urgent matters to attend to. Miss Ku Di, since your senior brother has come to fetch you, we'll part ways here. Li Wei was burdened with countless troubles and enemies, and he was traveling with the Grand Palace Master, whose presence could attract catastrophic danger at any moment. Ku Di's continued association with him would be exceedingly perilous. Now, under the watchful eyes of countless observers, he was entrusting Ku Di to Changji Daozi. Changji Daozi would undoubtedly exert every effort to protect her, lest he face the wrath of Palace Master and later. Moreover, Li Wei had secretly slipped her an Earth Sword talisman and a Divine Swiftness talisman, fulfilling his duty of care. Ku Di had no desire to accompany Changji Daozi and Kong Yanlan to the Twin Rice sect. If she could have fit in there, why would she have traveled with Palace Master and in the first place? She would have joined the Twin Rice sect's younger generation of martial mystic cultivators at the sea market on Moondragon Island long ago. Ku Di watched Li Wei and Yuer's retreating figures, biting her lip but ultimately remaining silent. She knew that following Li Wei would only bring him trouble. Besides, he clearly resented her, having repeatedly mentioned handing her over to the Twin Rice sect. Changji Daozi gazed at Yuer beside Li Wei, a nagging sense of familiarity tugging at his mind. As the two figures vanished completely, his expression darkened. Junior sister, has Master emerged from seclusion? Has her injury fully healed? None of your concern, Ku Di retorted. Kong Yanlan's voice was cold and calculating. Who exactly is Lu Fengshu? Hand over whatever he secretly gave you. Ku Di feared they might discern something from the talismans. Mind your own business. Master would never let you come to Moondragon Island alone without a trump card to save your life. You might as well give it to me now. As your senior brother, I'm perfectly capable of protecting you. Changji Daozi offered a warm, friendly smile. They shouldn't have recognized Yuer. How could a normal person age 3 years in just 3 months? A 3-year difference would completely change her appearance. Besides, no one has ever been close to Yuer for an extended period. Li Wei mused inwardly, his nose catching the savory aroma of cooked food. He swallowed hard. During his seclusion, the meals had been barely enough to fill his stomach. His inner organs were severely deprived. He glanced at Yuer beside him. She was also swallowing, her eyes fixed on the restaurant, rooted to the spot. Let's go. Time to treat our mouths and bellies. Yuer nodded eagerly, like a chick pecking at grain. Yes. Master is the best. I want to eat a whole table full of dishes. The two of them, overjoyed, hurried up the stairs to the second floor of the restaurant, one after the other. Waiter. Bring us one of everything on the menu. Li Wei shouted boldly. The dishes were served quickly, 18 plates in all, featuring the finest seafood delicacies. Lobster, conch, shellfish, and fish of every variety filled the table. As the master and disciple were feasting heartily, footsteps approached, and an unexpected guest sat down at their table. The newcomer wore a white conical hat and a veil, their gaze sweeping over the dishes. Your appetite is truly remarkable. What brings you to the Lingxiao realm? It was Yao Qingshan's voice. Li Wei was stunned. He glanced around and, using his original voice, sent a telepathic probe. Master, do you remember what this disciple stole from the southern purity Nanqing Palace? When Yao Qingshan heard Li Wei's voice coming from Lu Fengshu, her eyes widened slightly beneath her veil. She had come to investigate after seeing Lu Fengshu deliberately antagonizing the Zhu Li tribe by the sea. If there were any hidden threats, she needed to uncover them in advance or eliminate them discreetly. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Melworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 5. Seeking Immortality in the Eastern Sea. Volume 5 Pinyin Donghai Xuan Xian. Chapter 23 460 Ancient Immortal Dragon Remains. 23rd of Volume 5. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. More than 4 months had passed since the battle at Cloud Heaven Immortal Plain. In the East Sea, the climate was sweltering and humid. It was May, and even the sea breeze blowing through the window felt like a scorching wave. Under the night sky, the sea market on Moondragon Island thrived, bustling with noise and activity, its myriad lanterns illuminating dense crowds. From the second-floor window of a tavern, supported by wooden branches, Yao Qingshan gazed down at the street below. Martial mystic cultivators from various sects and clans, clad in uniform spiritual artifact robes, moved in groups of 3 to 5 or in columns of dozens, their presence ubiquitous. Yao Qingshan sat facing the window, her features altered by the transformation technique. She had removed her conical hat, letting her dark hair cascade down. Though she hadn't cultivated the bone-shifting spirit-altering chapter, her profound cultivation and mastery of the transformation technique made it impossible for anyone below a vastly superior realm to see through her disguise. 3 months ago, you appeared at the Dead Spirit Market on the Huang River, where you were hunted by 2 divine sons of the Twin Rice sect. News of this spread quickly, mobilizing all the experts of the Zhu Li hidden sect to search for you in the Nether Realm. Later, you lured them to Old Yuzhou. Since then, you've vanished as if you'd evaporated. Everyone has been deeply worried. For Yao Qingshan, a great power of the immortal realm with a notoriously aloof demeanor, to speak these words meant more than simply acknowledging Li Wei as the divine hidden one of the hidden sect. It revealed a genuine bond of master and disciple between them. Their relationship had deepened significantly after Li Wei risked everything to rescue her from the Twin Rice sect's main hall in Lingxiao City. Li Wei noticed eyes watching them from the tavern, the street, and nearby buildings. Clearly, his fierce battle by the sea had drawn the attention of various factions to him, the Sword Gentleman. He released a psychic field, enveloping a 10-foot radius around them. While peeling shrimp for Yuer, Li Wei asked with a smile, I found traces of the hidden lord outside Old Yu Prefecture City. Did I inadvertently lure him there too? Yao Qingshan, veiled as always, sat with her pure immortal physique, skin glowing like jade wax under the tavern's lamplight. Her gaze remained icy, her aura otherworldly, carrying a depth and sharpness that Yaoyan lacked. He and Elder Qin were being hunted by Yang Shenjing and fled into the Nether Realm of the dead to recover from their injuries. They learned of your entry into the Nether Realm and pursued you there. He's currently at the sea market on Moon Dragon Island. Li Wei's eyes lit up with disbelief. How many members of the Zhu Li clan have come? Whether young or old, anyone with a chance to reach the immortal realm would never willingly miss such a great opportunity, Yao Qingshan countered. What exactly is this great opportunity? Li Wei asked. He only knew it seemed to be related to the ancient immortal dragon remains. Yao Qingshan gazed at him, her long eyelashes framing her eyes as her red lips parted slightly. You sent the message back to the Lingxiao realm, stirring up all the martial mystic cultivators and causing a worldwide sensation. And now you're asking me. Li Wei quickly recounted all the information he had gathered, then smiled wryly. That's all I know. Yao Qingshan pondered briefly, then her expression shifted to astonishment. You absorbed only a trace of six-clawed immortal dragon chi and immediately achieved a breakthrough. It seems the martial mystic cultivators of the Lingxiao realm, including myself, have underestimated this opportunity. She explained, 3 months ago, your message to the Lingxiao realm ignited the passion of the younger generation while offering a glimmer of hope for immortal to the aging martial mystic cultivators nearing the end of their lifespans. However, the true catalyst that drew everyone here was the definitive news released by the Calamity Crossing Temple. The Transcendents, the Calamity Crossing Temple, the Rice Palace, and the Eastern Sea Monster Clan have been exploring the sea area where the six-clawed immortal dragon chi manifested. They discovered that energy continues to leak from the seabed, tectonic activity is high, and earthquakes are frequent. The chi of the ancient immortal dragon remains, buried deep within the Earth's core, is seeping out, causing numerous mystical phenomena. For example, the 1,000-mile-long stream of firefly-like immortal flames you mentioned in your letter. Another example is the magnificent mist-like phoenix tree in the illusory dragon city, which resemble mirages and align with ancient legends of the Eastern Sea Monster Clan. Recently, a new theory has emerged. It suggests that Yu Jia, who lived 10,000 years ago and could simultaneously give birth to flying dragons and flying phoenixes, and who defied fate to ascend to immortality, was connected to these ancient immortal dragon remains beneath the earth. Li Wei's expression darkened. Which faction is trying to excavate the ancient immortal dragon remains? If they're connected to Yu Jia, their audacity is staggering. Excavating the remains of ancient immortal giant beasts is extremely dangerous, a task only the most powerful ancient sects, imperial courts, and kingdoms dare undertake. Moreover, they don't attempt such excavations lightly. They only resort to this when they're desperate, facing imminent collapse. The risks are immense, even a slight misstep could unleash catastrophic consequences. Of course, the rewards are equally immense, a risk-free, infinitely profitable venture. You should know that the blood of ancient immortal giant beasts is sold by the drop. It can transform mortals into aberrant humanoids with immense strength, and it's a resource that aberrant race martial mystic cultivators must continuously purchase throughout their cultivation journey. Yet the blood of ancient immortal giant beasts is merely a byproduct of excavating their remains. After all, these colossal creatures perished tens of thousands of years ago. The blood within their remains has long since lost most of its blood chi, its immortal power dissipated, and its life energy extinguished. It's a far cry from true ancient immortal blood, a difference as vast as the distance between heaven and earth. For transcendence, it's practically useless. But if Yu Jia is involved, everything changes. Yu Jia is arguably the most recent ancient immortal giant beast, having lived less than 10,000 years ago. The methods it left behind must still possess terrifying energy, undiminished by time. Yao Qingshan explained, this is just speculation, of course. The reason for this theory is the Western monster race has joined the fray. Initially, the Calamity Crossing Temple and the Rice Palace decided to excavate the remains together. Then the Eastern Sea Monster Clan joined, since the remains lie within their territory. The Lingxiao realm only gained the right to a share of the spoils thanks to the Calamity Crossing Temple. As news leaked, martial mystic cultivators from all the surrounding life realms rushed to the scene. Even the cave ruins ghost city was alerted, and their figures have been sighted along the East Sea coast for the past half-month. The cave ruins ghost city, located deep within the Nether Realm, lies beyond the 300 prefectures of Lingxiao. Yet its influence extends over 1,000,000 miles, encompassing the entire 300 prefectures of Lingxiao and 5 other nearby life realms. These 6 life realms are merely specks within the vast territory dominated by the cave ruins ghost city. To martial mystic cultivators of the Lingxiao realm, the cave ruins ghost city is a legendary realm, impossibly distant and with even less presence than the Calamity Crossing Temple. It pales in comparison to Lord Lan, who resides so close by. Only a handful of powerful figures know that Lord Lan, who controls 31 prefectures, must periodically journey to the cave ruins ghost city to pay homage and tribute. Yao Qingxian added, some say the Eastern Sea Monster clan feared the Calamity Crossing Temple and Rice Palace would claim the lion's share of the benefits, so they brought in the Western monster race. Each excavation of ancient immortal giant beast remains grants a significant boost in power to both living and departed spirits in the surrounding region. This grand opportunity offers transcendence and great immortal, allowing one to feast on the dragon's flesh. Younger martial mystic cultivators in the Dao Seed and 5 Seas realms can at least sip the soup. Even absorbing the 6-clawed immortal dragon chi that erupts when the ancient immortal dragon remains are unearthed is an immense blessing. If one manages to unearth immortal soil, ancient immortal blood earth, or essence herbs, or even scavenge fallen dragon scales or absorb immortal Dao scriptures drifting in the void, the gains would be tremendous. As for other opportunities, those requiring heaven-defying luck to seize, we dare not even dream of them. Li Wei suddenly understood why martial mystic cultivators from across the realm had been drawn here. Who wouldn't want a taste of that soup? Especially martial mystic cultivators practicing the Dragon Seed Dao, aberrant humanoid martial mystic cultivators, and old-timers nearing the end of their lifespans, they had no choice but to come. For young, great powers like Yao Qingxian, who had just entered the immortal realm, absorbing the 6-clawed immortal dragon chi would be immensely beneficial. However, its allure diminished greatly for those who had already achieved great immortal realm. Master, would you like some? Li Wei offered a peeled shrimp. Yao Qingxian ignored him, her gaze fixed on the scenery outside the window. Li Wei turned and placed the shrimp in Yuer's bowl. The little girl, ravenously hungry, had been burying her face in her food the entire time. Li Wei understood why Yao Qingxian had lost his appetite. Does Yao An know you're still alive? She visited me from Calamity Crossing Temple just 4 days ago, Yao Qingxian replied, no longer treating Li Wei as a junior. They could now discuss many topics as equals. A man who could effortlessly defeat the first commander of an entire province deserved to be treated as an equal. Li Wei said, this is something you'll have to face sooner or later. Have you thought about how to tell her? Would you like me to intervene? I still have some influence with her. Yao Qingxian's gaze fell on Li Wei's face. Mind your own business. Where did this child come from? Yuer, my disciple, Li Wei replied. Yuer looked up at Yao Qingxian. Your master's master, so you must be Yuer's grandmaster. Ah, no need for such formalities, Yao Qingxian said. Li Wei didn't want to put Yao Qingxian in a difficult position. Who knew if the Grand Palace mistress would seek revenge after recovering, unable to accept the truth? Yao Qingxian didn't dwell on it. Their relationship had never been a true master-disciple bond anyway. Why bother with the pretense of seniority? A lingering melancholy clouded her brow as she asked, what about Kudi? Her senior brother has already taken her back to the ship. Li Wei knew that Yao Qingxian and Shanjing shared a genuine bond. Don't worry, everything will be fine, he reassured. Changji Daozi's character and temperament may leave much to be desired, but with Hall Master and watching over him, he'll undoubtedly take good care of his junior sister. Yao Qingxian frowned deeply. Have you forgotten? At the Twin Rice sect's main hall, when I entrusted you to his care, how well did he protect you? That was just jealousy of talent. Li Wei retorted, Kudi's aptitude might even surpass his. Master, aren't you overthinking this? Hall Master has indeed shown as much kindness and tolerance, but she's no pushover. Her methods are formidable, otherwise, how could she have survived in Coffin Mountain and the Twin Rice sect? Yao Qingxian asked sternly, have you seen her? Yes, Hall Master herself gave me a ride here. Otherwise, why would I be traveling with Kudi? If not for her intervention, given my grievances with that little nun, I'd have demanded compensation for the humiliation at the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival. Li Wei chuckled. Yao Qingxian sighed inwardly, asking with a hint of guilt, has her injury fully healed? Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel.